What is up, chefs, foodies, and students? Welcome to Everybody Knows. I'm Anders. I'm so glad you're here. Let's get started. Today we are talking about the ingredient of cedar wood. This ingredient comes originally from the Pacific Northwest in terms of specific techniques. It is currently well known in cuisines from North America, but if you're investigating origins and cultures, be sure to research the time period as well, since many foods are brought to cultures from elsewhere or developed over time. When I say the Pacific Northwest, I mean the Pacific Northwest of the United States region of North America. When looking at this ingredient, we expect to see something that has the integrity of wood, that being that it's not some kind of powdered version that may or may not actually be wood or the type of wood that is advertised. We want enough of a whole wood product that we can see that it hasn't been tampered or infused in some way that is not preferable. The wood itself will probably not appear any differently if it has sat for a long time, but the intensity of aroma is probably more what you would be looking for in terms of a product that may not be favorable. So if you either scrape off a shaving or you break a piece and you don't get a strong aroma of cedar, then you might want to switch to a fresh product. This cedar is not food grade. It is from an untreated piece of lumber. However, the aroma should be the exact same. And so when you're sourcing your wood, make triple sure that you are using an untreated food grade version of cedar, or if it's being milled locally, and you connect with them about how it's been treated or not treated. Fresh cedar is all you need. Food grade just means that it hasn't been contaminated with some freaky chemical that might make you sick. Looking at this wood, I've been able to snap some pieces apart to give me nice fresh surfaces. Otherwise, I'm able to smell that there's a nice sort of coniferous, not carnivorous, coniferous, that type of wood that grows cones and needles, like pine needles, but I can smell that quality in the wood. I can smell a sappiness, a sort of evergreen quality. And this is not the strongest example. Like, this wood is not new, fresh wood, so fresh cedar would definitely be giving you a even stronger punch than this. However, that quality is a nice green, evergreen, resinous type of woody aroma. Let's have a quick look at the universal aroma wheel. If we're looking at this version of the wheel, we're going to be inside of the woody category, and that category divides into burned and living. Living also just sort of being a placeholder for not burned. And we can see that it's divided relatively into coniferous and non-coniferous. And within coniferous, we see here is cedar. I think this is a good location for it, in terms of it's kind of a more mild, not as piney aroma within the coniferous family. We also see sort of like this arrangement between cedar, pine, juniper, sandalwood, which is not typically used as much culinarily, into the shoots category where we see bamboo. And so that feels relatively good. And then going upwards from coniferous, we can see that we're going into pine nuts and then into the earthy subcategory of the nutty main category. So that arrangement feels relatively comfortable and or logical. As always, I'm open to your feedback if you think there's some major flaw here. I would say cedar wood as an ingredient is not that strong unless you push it to be. Like, if you were going for a concentrate of some kind, you definitely could. You can also use the fresh greens from a cedar tree to get some of those notes. I've made cedar salt before in that way. The sort of like Magnus Nielsen technique of blending your salt with a fresh herb. It was really nice. It was a really good complement to a shiitake mushroom tortellini. But for the wood itself, I would say smoking it obviously will give you a whole nother dimension of flavor, but the technique mentioned earlier from the Pacific Northwest refers mostly to plank cookery, meaning that you would take a plank of cedar wood, saturate it with water so that it wouldn't actually catch fire properly, and then you would put that over your cooking fire and your meat on top of the wooden plank. And so some of that flavor would then be imparted, and it's not dramatic, but it is a nice sort of delicate, woodsy type of aroma. And so I think it has several applications and would be interesting to play around with. You could flavor a beverage with it, potentially, depending on the freshness and or quality of your cedar wood. And I think it's a lovely sort of medium strength aroma if you had a nice fresh piece of cedar. Let's have a look in the flavor Bible. I'll be impressed if there is cedar in here. There is not. Suffice to say, it is a bit more of a brighter aroma, so you could pair this with other rich foods that would benefit from something cutting through it, or just a little bit of brightness. Again, if you brought those greens into the equation, you could involve them in any kind of cocktail and or seasoning and or garnish for something that was a little bit heavier. I think that would all play out really nicely. And that about wraps it up. So what I would like you to do is think about this ingredient as you cook or eat, as well as the words that we use to describe it. Have you used this ingredient successfully? Have you actually made something with cedar wood that you were like, yes, that was amazing, I want to know about it? Do you like the aroma of cedar? Why or why not? And do you agree or disagree with what I've shared here today? Any of the answers to those questions, please throw them in the comments. I would love to read them. I hope this video made sense and got you thinking about the aroma of cedar wood. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to help me get an ingredient to feature in a video, please send me an email or a private message. If you would like to join the Food Aroma Nerdery, feel free to subscribe and you'll see all my latest vids. And if you would like a large poster or a digital copy of the Aroma Wheel that I've built, go ahead and check the description for links. Thanks so much. Bye.